And it says we're live.
It lies.
It always does.
It always does, yes.
And we're joined by Peter and Jonna today.
And Courtney.
And Courtney.
Jonna's not joining
Oh,
us.
Jonna's not joining us. Never mind.
Not technically.
I'm sure there will be random comments, however.
United States Federal Reserve. Back in the basement.
Yeah, well, we've got a couple of rants.
Okay, where to start? Missing stuff. There it is. Okay. As always, to keep the heat on, because it was 38 degrees when I got here today, donate here. If you like coffee, talk to these guys. Let them know you heard about it here, so maybe they'll send us more coffee. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
As always, and please do add the Federal Reserve to the to that statement.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. And for Richard, our coffee that he donated did show up.
I haven't tried it yet.
It is Portuguese, so it's going to be a little on the strong side.
So before we get started,
Oh dear.
Peter has donated a mascot to the Raconteur Press chief editor in charge,
Uh-oh.
i.e. Courtney. You will notice all of the small authors, the short story authors, currently being nommed by her mascot. Here you go. That's from Peter.
Dorothy and I thought that was just you.
Especially when I'm reading through things with no names on them.
Still,
Yeah. They're going to be very sad when they get their rejection letter. If I can figure out who they are.
so did you say, if you don't know who they are, you send a rejection letter. Names, people! Names!
Yes. This
How
is
can you send a rejection letter if you don't have a name for them?
very true. They'll just sit there in the ether forever and ever.
No, you just have an appendix of stories who we could not identify the author.
Yeah.
Everybody who neglected to send a name attached to their manuscript.
Apparently, Lyota was one of them.
Really, Leota?
uh,
She forgot her name. Seriously?
Can't get paid without a name. You're exactly right, Mona Lisa. Welcome, everybody. Today is going to be an interesting day. Well,
Just today?
yeah.
It's extra special interesting.
Yeah. I get to start the rant since
No,
I'm
go
the
right
old
ahead.
fart.
Go right ahead.
The U.S. Navy is once again being screwed over. Well, DOD in their entirety is being screwed over by the Pres budget that just came out earlier this week.
Presidential budget.
Sorry. Effectively, the Navy is getting a 4% cut along with the rest of DOD. But the administration is touting it as a 3% raise from last year. Now, when you do the simple math, inflation is 7%.
Yeah. The official rate of inflation.
Official rate, yes.
Unofficially, well over 20%.
Yeah. So if you give them a 3% raise, that is effectively DOD gets a 4% cut. None
Which is
of
very-
the entitlement programs were less than 8 to 10% raises. Also, the Navy has tried last
And they
year.
are so very trying.
At least the Navy doesn't have to walk to work like the Army.
No, they got to swim. Glub, glub, I'm a sub.
Yeah, there's a war, so no raise. Yeah. Recruiting sucks, to put it bluntly. Yeah, Tom, we're approaching where we were under Carter, which is truly freaking
Ouch.
scary.
Ouch.
Yeah, Joel. The Australians have decided to buy 3 Virginia class, and that's going to be interesting because New Zealand is not happy with that, but that's a whole nother story. So the Navy is trying again to get rid of a few ships.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I thought we were short ships to begin with.
we are, but we've got ships that we need to get rid of.
Okay.
3 Whidbey class amphibious dock landing ships, 3 Ticonderoga class cruisers, and 2 Independence variant littoral combat ships. So the Navy would lose, quote, quote, 54 years of service life under that plan. But when you do the ship to ship replacement cost and repair, modernization, and operation, the return on investment is not there. In other words, it's going to cost too friggin' much to fix the problems that had been baked into those ships because they were not able to do the required maintenance during sequestration, et cetera, et cetera.
The peace dividend.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Congress, in their infinite wisdom, oh, you can't take those ships away. We must have those ships because our representatives, et cetera, et cetera. So the Navy is once again trying this year to get rid of 2 LCSs and decommission all of the Freedom Class LCS, which is the one with a screwed up combining gear reduction, which they still will not admit how many billions of dollars it would cost to fix that little problem.
Which should be paid by Lockheed Martin, but
Yes.
it won't be.
Yeah.
Lockheed Martin should be fixing all that on their dime.
Yep.
Yep. And they want to decommission the amphibs because realistically, they are at the end of their life.
Also, there isn't much of a Marine Corps left to put on them.
No, Germantown's 38 years into a 40-year. Gunnison Hall is 35 and Tortuga would be 34. So the cost to fix them and the amount of time it takes to fix them, Germantown would actually be over the 40-year planned life before it ever came back in service. Gunston Hall would be at 37 to 38, Tortuga at 36 to 37.
That's ageist, Jim.
Thank you. Now I have another. And Dave Berger, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, last week put out a readiness review of the entire amphibious fleet.
And if
it
he
was
said anything other than it sucks, somebody's lying.
32%, it sucks.
Sucks.
And that was an honest appraisal. So what we have is the Navy needs to maintain the few amphibs that are actually usable. Otherwise, the Marines won't be able to respond. And once again, they're trying to get rid of Vicksburg and a couple of the other cruisers because they simply are broke.
Hard to have a top of the line amphibious fighting force and no ships to amphib them.
But we've got cruisers out there with water leaks into the main engine room, into the berthing areas below the waterline, and cracks the fuel tank because, again, maintenance wasn't done.
That's the thing that I keep pointing out is if my M3 had leaks, I slapped some JB weld on it and moved on.
Well, that's basically what they've been doing for the last 5 years on the cruisers, in addition to not doing the modernizations required.
Mhm.
Yep, we're bone drafter. Pretty much says it all. Ag, we are not only catching up to Canadian Navy, we're going to surpass y'all and screwed up
Go
here
below
rather
it.
shortly. Yeah. But the it identifies as a berthing area. Yes, differ. Contrary to the, well, I take that back. I can't say for sure they call it a berthing area, as in Berthing, not Birthing.
It could be both in
Spellingist.
today's Navy.
Spellingist.
Oh, Peter. Sadly, you're right, and so are you.
I know.
The ocean is our first opponent and it never lets up. That's
Oh.
true, Rick.
I understand that. That's why I went into the land force.
Yeah. Yeah, fighting the other guys assumes you can get to the op area in the first place.
See, I like the fact that if things go all squirrely, I could walk my way home.
Yeah.
Or run or sneak. It's hard to dog paddle, which is all you're gonna get out of me. It's hard to dog paddle home when things screw up in the fleet.
Well, it's only 5,000 miles.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
it's actually 3 miles. Granted, straight down, but there's land within 3 miles wherever you are.
No,
It's straight down. It might be the bottom of the ocean, but it's
no,
land.
that's not true.
It'll actually be 7 or 8 miles.
Oh, 7 miles? Okay.
Unless you get the Challenger Deeps, which
Yeah,
is
there's something else. again, yes.
15,000 feet down.
The Marianas Trench, 28.
Yeah. Marcus Luttrell has some very interesting thoughts on ROE. Yes, he does. And they are mostly correct.
Tom says you can't dig a foxhole in the deck of a ship. that classic infantry philosopher, I can't remember his name, who did the cartoon, Bill Mauldin.
Yes.
Mauldin
Yes.
Bill Moore.
has a very famous cartoon panel that was on my office wall for ages. And it was 2 dog faces saying, "Tanks, not for me. A moving foxhole attracts the eye."
Yeah. Yeah, David, land is much closer if the ships are in the med. However, there are some other issues in the med, which we won't go into. Anyway, that's my rant for the day.
That's Mediterranean Basin's my area.
I'd like to throw in a bit of a rant while we're on the military, and that is the Army's screw up with its new rifle.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
God, yes.
I wrote a blog article about that last week. They seem to be screwing it up by the numbers. You know, a chamber pressure that's so high it's wearing the rifles out prematurely.
And I said that was going to happen.
Ammunition that is only a shaved hair better than 308, which they've already got floating around in the billions.
Yeah.
And, you know, a sight which is barely operable. And if anything goes wrong, like a flat battery or it gets dropped, it suddenly stops being a sight and becomes a pound or 2 of useless dead weight on your rifle.
Yep.
It's great for all
It
the
was,
bells and
it
whistles.
was, yeah, that site was, it was promulgated as the best point and click. All you have to do is put the carrot on the target and pull the trigger.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to laser the target first to determine the range.
Yes.
Enter the range and then do a point and click.
And I also pointed that out that it's,
And there are no backup sites.
Yeah, that's not very. You know, it's in South Africa they had the expression: you have to build weapons to be soldier-proof.
Yeah.
They have to be strong enough and simple enough to survive anything. And that they took that philosophy so far that the final pre-production prototypes of every weapon system were tested in action in the operational area by the engineers who designed and produced them, which
Oh.
tended to concentrate the engineers' minds wonderfully when they produced the ZT-3 anti-tank missile, which turned out to be a clone of the American TOW via Israel that converted it to laser following instead of wire guided, then to South Africa, which finally perfected the design. Anyway, when they tested those the first time, the laser eye in the missile that was supposed to follow the laser beam turned out to be just a wee bit too sensitive and followed the sun instead.
Yeah.
This was with Russian tanks who were shooting at them at the time. So they'd fire a missile and it would go wee up, and the scientist would go, oh, shit.
and the survivors fixed that problem.
Oh, they fixed it very, very quickly because they would take it back into action. But, you know, it's like the old story of the soldier who was locked in a windowless room with 3 steel balls. They let him out after 24 hours. He'd lost one, broken a second, and got the third one pregnant.
Yep.
Soldier proof. Yeah.
3 bowling ball theory.
There is no such thing as soldier proof.
The thing about the M5 or M7, because apparently they can't make up their minds what the hell the name of it's going to be,
Yeah.
is it's a 308 frame.
Yeah.
So if we're going back to the 308, let's just use a 308. This 6.8, the 277 Fury or 6.8 Wonder Round at 80,000 PSI chamber pressure and a dual bimetallic compound
Yeah,
case.
like the Chinese are going to be selling us the tungsten for the bullet to shoot back at them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it cannot be reloaded.
Heck, can you see a home reloader trying to load to 80,000 psi?
Yes,
you
as
talk-
a matter of fact, I can.
Can you say grenade?
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
damn thing's a grenade. If something goes wrong with 80,000 psi chamber pressure, if something goes wrong with the firing cycle, you just lost a soldier.
Yeah.
And again, 3 bowling ball rule, and also Murphy loves the 3 bowling ball rule. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah.
So some private is going to do something. For reference, look at the boar's tooth modifications made by privates during Vietnam.
Yep.
Some private or specialist is going to do something to make it better, and it's going to go off like a grenade because 80,000 psi chamber pressure. Morons.
Rick makes a good statement. Military procurement's been messed up forever. Whenever Og went out and picked up the wrong kind of rocks.
I'll pick up rocks just fine. Requirements were wrong.
Yeah.
Those are enemy rocks. Put them down.
Yeah.
The worst
Like,
that can happen with rocks is you just get more rocks. I don't know what the problem is.
Oh,
the
no.
problem is the type of rock. You don't pick up basalt.
Yeah.
When
Well,
slate's easier to find.
If you do, you
Fair.
have to get your rocks off, don't you?
Here.
There's a certain logic to
Logic.
it.
5
Moving
letters.
on.
5 letters that mean so much and so little at the same time.
Yeah.
I do have a funny story. Granddaughter had finally talked her mama into letting her watch a quote unquote scary show. So
So she tuned on C-SPAN.
now she wanted a ghost story. Well, she was being babysat by a friend's teenage daughter who let her watch Walking Dead.
I've never seen that.
First episode or just in general? Or the movie as opposed to the
The movie.
There's a
oh.
movie?
Yeah.
Mm.
Now she's 5 years old. So when youngest daughter picked her up in the car on the way home, she asked, "Well, how'd you like the scary show?" And apparently granddaughter went, "Mama, can we watch Bugs Bunny now?"
I watched an alleged
So-
sheriff with an alleged Colt Python kneecapping zombies and with their heads exploding because he's pointing down when
Yeah.
he's pulling the gut. And that was in the preview. And I mean, I'm not watching this shit.
Yeah.
And 17 minutes 53 seconds.
David, in response to the M16 comment, it was not Stoner's fault. It was actually the
That
Army's
was the
fault
Army's fault.
for buying the wrong powder for the gun, for the ammunition.
Yep, they switched from a ball to an extruded flake or something like
Yep.
that and completely fouled up the works with
Yeah.
all the.
Well, and they demanded stuff be added. Well, the Air
Yeah.
Force and Army both demanded. It was
And they
Stoner's
didn't-
design worked just fine, and
Yeah.
the Air Force and the Army demanded stuff be added to it because
And then they didn't even issue cleaning kits, much less tell people how
Yeah,
to clean.
yeah,
yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I have a copy somewhere of the 1968-10 FM with Connie.
Yeah.
Connie, the Army girl,
Mhm.
and I used to drop it on my squadron commander's desk with a part. Must be cleaned, and it said in there because I've read it multiple times. Must be cleaned 3 to 5 times a day in combat conditions.
Yeah. And that's a good point, David. They also wrote the chrome lining, which was part of the original specification, because it was too expensive.
They just had to get their
Yeah.
fingers because they had to get their fingers off because it's perfect. No, we must fix it because politicians.
Yeah, Kermit, there were a list of issues from the original Stoner design. And actually, a lot of that was due to LeMay, because he was
Bombs away LeMay.
he was the one that was enamored with it and had to have it for the Air Force first.
Air Force got it first.
But being the amount of pull that he had, he was able to make the changes he personally felt was necessary to the gun. And then McNamara, who was a bean counter from Ford before he was SecDef, started looking at the money cost and went, oh, scratch that, scratch that, scratch that.
Well, it showed up in South Africa when we were testing 5.56 millimeter rifles in the late 1970s. We got examples of just about every major NATO and Eastern Bloc rifle we could, and we tested them in our operational area in combat. And the M16 failed the very first round of tests because it couldn't cope with African dust.
No.
And there is a story to that about African dust. Back in the 70s, 80s, BMW South Africa produced all of the right-hand drive 7 series for the world market. BMW in Germany just produced the standard European and American pattern. And so the new model came along and they sent a couple of them out to South Africa for testing. And South Africa sent back a pretty complimentary report, except they said the dust proofing needs improvement. The Germans sent back a rather stiff query saying, everywhere else in the world is fine, why should yours have problems? So they sent them an example of Southern African road dust of one of our typical, and they got a reply back from Germany via telex that they framed and hung in the engineering section of the BMW South Africa headquarters. The reply said, this find does not occur in nature. Well, yes, it did. And BMW sent out a couple of their engineers who were driven to that road and said, help yourself. And they changed the dust proofing.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing happened with these weapons. An awful lot of them did not succeed. The one that did, and which we adopted, was the Israeli Galil.
Yeah.
Because the Israelis were also dealing with desert areas. They had also used the FN rifle as we had and had their dust problems. So they built the Galil to be just about dust proof. And it was so successful, we licensed it from them and we built it as the R4. And again, that rifle worked very well because we gave it to actual soldiers and said, play with it, test it, tell us what you think.
I like Tom's comment. German engineering denying reality outside their laboratory since 1795. Pretty much a true statement.
And of course, the Galil is also based on the AK-47, which has a phenomenal reputation and well-deserved.
Yeah.
I've personally taken a AK-47 half buried in dried red clay African laterite mud. Yeah, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I dumped it in the stream, swilled it off, kicked the action open with my boot because it was frozen solid with mud inside, swilled the open action around in the stream, took the magazine, which was full, swilled that around in the stream, put the mag in and fired all 30 rounds on full auto, and it worked.
Yeah.
The kind of thing that would destroy any other gun, and the AK just sat there and worked.
A friend of mine was got hired to go downrange and teach the Afghan National Police at their training academy. And he was a firearms instructor. And he told me a story about, and he always wore a full-up vest with chicken plates on the range because he got shot 3 times by accident.
Yeah.
But told me about one of the guys, when they said, we're going to teach you the AK rifle. And I think it was AK-74. And this guy came in with an AK-47 that, this thing had obviously been buried in the dirt with no protection. And Mike said he looked at it and went, well, that's going to take a little cleanup. The guy goes, goes over to the horse trough, shakes it around in the water for a while, comes back with it at Port Arms, and goes, I'm ready now.
Yep.
And Mike said, okay, see if it'll shoot. And he said, and that son of a bitch cooked off all 30 rounds in a heartbeat, and the guy's finger was off the trigger for the last 28.
Yes.
Yeah, the AK-47 was a brilliant piece of design for what it's intended for. It's not the world's most accurate. It's not the world's most ergonomic, But for a peasant rifle to be used in an assault by a whole bunch of half-trained soldiers, it goes on shooting forever.
Yep.
It was a brilliant design.
Sometimes not on purpose.
Yeah. On the other hand, as long as it was pointed down range, no one really cared.
I have, of all the folks sitting at this table, one of us has actually set the front handguard AK-47 on fire.
Not me, because I
That
don't
was
like
when-
them.
That was when you were a miscreant E4, right?
Oh, I forget.
Very convenient.
I forget. But yes, if you fire enough 3-round mags through an AK-47, you can catch the wooden foregrip on fire.
You can also light cigarettes on the barrel, which
Yeah.
I have personally done. Gets a nice red glowing texture.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to other things. I finally realized this weekend or this week that the last 3 Raconteur Press associated books
Mhm.
all got orange tags.
Yep.
Yay.
All number one.
Yep. And and we actually this last weekend had 3 in the top 5 of sci-fi anthologies.
In 2 different categories, which is even more interesting.
Yeah.
And people were taking notice of us earlier. They're really taking notice of us now.
I think we're making an impression.
Yes.
You watch that, I'll make a takeover offer one of these days.
Screw it. Nope. I am not turning over. Nope. That's mine. Mine.
I mean, I'd be willing-
Mine.
I'd be willing to take over Bane, but they'd have to offer me a lot.
I'll run Bane, but they're going to have to offer me a hell of a lot of money.
Mhm.
And Brennan, you owe me something.
Well, the great part was Space Cowboys 1 was at number 1 in science fiction anthologies, and Space Cowboys 2 was at number 2 in science fiction anthologies. And then the next day, Space Cowboys 2 was at number 1, Space Cowboys 1 was at number 2.
Yeah.
You are defying mathematics on Pi Day, no less.
I was having a good time. I actually got a snippy, sarcastic Facebook Messenger said if Raconteur Press would stay the hell out of the number 1 slot, maybe other people could have a shot. Oh, my sweet summer child. No.
Look, we'll trade off which categories we're number 1 spot in, but no.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah,
I licked it, it's
ours. Yeah, we licked it. It's ours.
Oh, Greg, that had to have been truly interesting. You had the opportunity to host Kalishnikov at an OSIA portal monitoring site in Vodkinsk in 1991. I'm sure he was a very interesting individual.
I'm
I have
surprised
seen a couple of translations of some of his interviews.
he and Eugene Stoner got to meet. Somebody arranged
Yeah.
a coffee clatch between Mikhail Kalishnikov and Eugene Stoner, and I would give a kidney to have been there.
Yes.
What was interesting is that Kalashnikov always said that going to the AK-74 with a 5.45 by 39 round
Yeah.
was a big mistake.
Yeah.
He said that they should have kept the 30 caliber. It did everything they wanted, and the US had made a mistake in going down to the smaller 5.56.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that the SEALs and the guys who are up front, out on the cutting edge, an awful lot of them are still carrying 7.62 rifles
Yeah, they're carrying scars,
yeah,
which is why I
because,
can't get my damn 20-inch barrel.
Yeah.
Some bitches.
Breaking all the rules and making it work. Raconteur Press.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's rules.
Yeah, rules. We don't need no stinking rules. If they think the first
Your
3
rule-
months were bad, hide and watch.
Well, your rule book is the Howard Taylor's 70 Habits of Highly Effective.
Yeah.
First pillage, then burn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, everything's airdroppable once.
Yeah, where we're going, we don't need rules.
There are suggestions, there are traditions. There are no rules right now.
Yeah.
And I don't like some of the traditions. So that was the first 3 months. No, wait, first 3 months aren't over with yet. The rest of the year is going to be even more fun.
We have 17 more days left,
Oh, yeah, 17 more days.
and at least 2 more books coming out this month.
Yeah, and I am. I got kicked to the curb on a short story submission, so I'm in the process of turning that into a novella.
I actually, as soon as I heard that somebody had asked Jim for a short story and then turned it down, I was actually, for that long, trying to wonder if I could shoehorn in another anthology.
I have a solution.
Well,
I
I've
was-
already got it up to 11,000 words. So
it was going to
That's a
be
better solution.
Yeah.
F
Doesn't add to
asterisk
my
asterisk
workload.
asterisk U. We're publishing anyway. Was going to be the name of the anthology. Like, no, we can't. We want room.
Next year. Next year.
Yeah.
We can have this for 2024.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fuck you, we're
no,
publishing.
what we need to do is just take advantage of your persuasiveness when imbibing, and we'll have anthologies called "Blame It on the Bottle." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
37, 38,
that
39.
that could be the subtitle for most of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The first one was Blame It on Jana, and everyone after that would be Blame It on the Bottle.
I had one called "The Places We Weren't." That was a thought.
Yes.
2024, places we weren't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't write for that.
I know.
I don't need to go to prison.
On the other hand,
Why
I do
we
love
won't be
my
doing that one.
I do love my wife's complaint, sitting talking with the three of us, Ian
Yeah.
and Jim and I. She looked at us and said, "You realize I'm the only person at this table who hasn't done an arms deal in a souk."
Look,
I'm
Kim
sorry.
Jong-un,
She was
why would you
right.
bother?
Wait, I'm sure that I've still got. I can arrange if she really wants to do one. I can arrange it, but
Oh yeah, I reckon a couple of the souks that I was at would be very happy to take my money in exchange for a little bit here and there.
if you actually had paid cash money during your arms deal, you were screwing up.
Yeah.
Oh, it was sovereigns.
Oh, okay.
No, Cedar. Stop it.
What's she saying?
Arms.
So we need an anthology about arms deals in a suit.
Actually, that's
not impossible. We've probably got
that's
enough to
actually
do
for 2024. There are a list of that we keep adding to, or somebody keeps adding to, a list of possible anthology titles for 2024, and the damn thing's growing.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
I think that Ian and I need to host one together on African animals we have known. 'Cause,
African fauna I've eaten.
yeah,
And those girls go on long drives, and we come up with like 10 more anthologies.
Yeah.
Cedar said something about that. I want to
But
hear
yeah,
that.
And two of them were one card. I was another card. I added 3 to their
Right?
suggestions.
I wanna
we have
see this
some
list.
Great ideas.
I want to see this list.
Anthology of way stations, Bucky's in space.
Yes,
Oh,
because we're talking about rest stops.
You know, that could definitely have possibilities.
oh my God.
Well, think about the rest stops. I grew up; it was Howard Johnson's.
Yeah.
You know, we went back and forth across the country. There were Howard Johnsons everywhere. What's the Howard
Hojo's and
Johnson's in space,
Stuckies.
right? And
Stuckies.
Stuckies. And now it's all Chinese buffets or Cracker Barrel.
No, I've
So-
got it. You know, down here, Bucky's has Buddha and kolaches.
Yeah.
Yes.
In space, they have Klingon kolaches.
Peter.
But this has some real. I mean,
Please tell your
where
ears.
is the rest stop in
Waffle
space?
House in space. Yes.
Now, Waffle House in space. Oh my God, Kelly's Waffle
Kelly's
House. battle story.
Oh my God.
He read it
so
to us.
good.
He was writing it while we were down there. Like, oh my God, there's some people are gonna hate him.
Kelly Grayson has written The Battle of Waffle House 814.
Uh,
And holy gods, is it, oh my.
is it coming out in one of your anthologies?
No, he's gonna publish. He's gonna,
It's be a series.
it gets, apparently he's starting a series of Waffle House 814. Actually, the Tales from the Vervet Monkey, or the Green Vervet, or the Velvet Monkey, is actually one of the titles that I'm probably going to run in
No,
2024.
no, the green olive baboon.
Blam!
Yeah.
There was a pink mist. The end. Did you see?
Velvet Monkey is definitely an adult anthology.
Did you see that story from South Africa of the climbing club went to a rock that they've been climbing for years, and it's loaded down with that. What's that bloody huge baboon? The 80-pound bastard.
Yeah.
There's a troop there, and it's the Chagas, Champus. It's a big ass baboon.
Yeah.
There's a troop that lives on this rock, and they're used to people walking along it. Well, apparently, they got up there and they decided they were going to rappel off of it. So they're setting up their ropes, and the baboons going, "What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be walking," and they weren't walking. So as they started rappelling, the baboons picked up a 400-kilo boulder and dropped it on them. They had 4 of them had to be airlifted after they got pulled out from under the rock for various major fractures. And
Yes.
the rest of them took minor injuries because the rest of the troops started pelting them with rocks. When they went down to help, they were dropping rocks on them.
and throwing other unmentionable
Yeah.
Well, yes. It was a very South African report, so it was rocks.
Yeah.
It wasn't just rocks. Some of those rocks went splat.
Yeah, the baboons are very good at throwing.
Yeah. Excrement, yes.
Yes, use your imagination.
Yes, and monkeys are evil. The entire monkey, every simian on this planet would load humans onto a cattle car with a smile and a clear conscience.
Yeah.
People need to understand that monkeys are evil. Yes, they look cute. I don't care.
Yeah,
They're evil.
Monkeys have got all the worst traits that humans have inherited from them.
Yeah.
And we had to develop the good ones ourselves.
Yeah, and monkeys never got around to developing the good ones because they didn't see any use in them. Monkeys. I hate monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, people here have no idea. Chimpanzees, they are predators. They will kill and eat other monkeys.
Yes.
But people look at chimps here and say, oh, poor lab animals. We're so sorry for them.
Jane Goodall, bless her heart.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of Jane Goodall. Actually, Chris and I met her when her first book came out. She was on a signing tour. We got to meet her in London. Nice lady, sweetheart. Dumb as a box of rocks. Because when she wrote in her book, when she had her Sprague, and she had to leave her kid locked in a cage because the chimps were trying to snatch him, and not for lovin's. Well,
No.
maybe prison lovin's.
Digestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And said, well, chimpanzees are peaceful. They're trying to eat your kid.
Yep.
You locked up your kid because they're trying to eat him.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Ag makes a good point. The video that was floating around a few years ago about the fighters letting the monkey have the AK-47.
Morons.
That actually is a staged one from I think it's from some African film.
I don't care.
But it's not real. Don't ever think that.
Well,
It's also very typically what would happen anyway, because they will figure out how things work.
yeah, and point the gun at them. Yeah, and
Yeah.
try to shoot them. Yeah,
You know the old story about if you give 10,000 monkeys typewriters and they all type,
Yeah.
eventually out will come the works of Shakespeare.
No, Mein
No,
Kampf.
The works of Shakespeare won't, but a few bullets from an AK, oh hell yes,
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah, the monkeys are just monkeys.
Jane, Kermit wants to know if Jane recognized y'all from her field studies.
I don't think so. I imagine her chimps probably did. I don't like chimpanzees. They will tear you in half and eat you like corn on the cob.
Yep, they will.
And gorillas, peaceful gorillas, bullshit. I don't know about orangutans. Never been around them, but they're monkeys, so I don't care. Vervets,
Technically, of course, an orangutan isn't a monkey.
they're all monkeys. They look like people and they're furry.
Monalisa says you guys should look at what happens when the chimps go up against the
Bonobos, yeah.
bonobos.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. They
The liberal feminist version of chimps who live in abundance with no predators.
and that's also bullshit. Bonobos are not kind and gentle. They're bastards. But the vervets, the little vervets that allegedly are only in South Africa and East Africa, vervets are every fucking where, and they will chew your finger down to the bone. Oh, they're so cute. They're bastards. 22 Hornet.
Mean Girls Monkey Edition.
Yeah, if Mean Girls, if they were sadistic, psychotic little axe murderers.
What about the dog breed that looks like a monkey?
Baboons?
I'd say Chihuahua.
I've got a Chiweenie. He's a sweetheart. I've had Chihuahuas. They're great.
No, they're
There's-
not. They're little fucking ankle biters.
If you raise them right, they're great. Now, South Africa actually has a 22 Hornet.
Look at
It's,
these. There it is.
5 something by 32 rimmed or something. I forget. South Africa actually imports or has rifles in 22 Hornet, and that is great monkey medicine. I'm here to tell you, a 22 Hornet is great. If you think a prairie dog explodes,
I've exploded a prairie dog or two.
Now, you really want to have fun, you've got to hit them with something like a 90 mil armored car cannon.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
No, I'm
Nothing left.
Well, it's like South Africa's favorite house clearing maneuver in the operational area. You can snipe at the windows and try and break in the front door and clear it from room to room, or you can get a 90mm cannon from an armored car like a Rattle or an Eland, stick it in one window and touch off a round. Any round, doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
The overpressure will bring down the interior walls and the whole thing falls in.
And fine red mist goes out the windows.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically it's the end of problems from that house, and that way you don't have to put yourself in danger to do the house clearing. This was we were big fans of this technique.
Greg says a ground squirrel came out of its hole while I was zeroing my 1917 infield. Yeah.
I don't know if Wayne's on here. I think it was Wayne. Center punched an armadillo with a 7mm Remington Magnum at about 15 yards.
Must have been interesting.
My ears rang for a week.
I'm sure.
But
Tell me it didn't bounce off the shell.
stuff bounced, but it wasn't off the shell.
Yeah.
No, monkeys there are no redeeming qualities whatsoever to monkeys at all.
Yeah.
I may have told this, but my favorite story is Raiders of the Lost Ark. And when the monkey does the sing out, somebody finally understood monkeys in Hollywood.
Speaking of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, Short Round won an Oscar.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes, he did. About time.
Yeah.
And so did Brendan
He's all
Fraser.
grown up. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser's.
That yeah, Short Round, his speech was something else. That was really the only thing that I've watched
I didn't realize
in any of the coverage.
the Oscars were on.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I happened to see it yesterday. And he literally was a refugee from Vietnam who escaped by boat.
Apparently, he and his dad and half of the kids went to Singapore.
Yeah.
And his mother and the other half of the kids went to Europe.
Yeah.
They got split up. And they finally, in the stateside, got hooked. They hooked back up stateside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I think Short Round needs to. I think give him the hat and the whip, make him the next Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be.
Because I don't think it's going to be that good a movie.
Had forgotten they were making a movie.
Yeah. The only people who watched the Oscars were hoping to see somebody slap Jimmy Kimmel.
I'd have to care. Man, I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Now I look at all of the movies they're making now. They've lost all originality. It's
Yeah.
all remakes.
Yeah, it's
Because
like
they
they're
can't come up with-
scared.
It's like they can't come up with a single original idea.
Yeah. Later, John.
There's. I mean,
Well, and the press against Top Gun Maverick, that was just friggin' amazing. You can't give this movie an Oscar because it shows the military in a good light.
Netflix
Really?
needs to grab a Raconteur Press anthology and make a 10 episode animated out of it.
Like the love robots, and that would be so
Except
cool.
ours would be better.
Ours would be way better.
Ours would be way better.
But some of those are really neat.
Some of them are neat, but all of ours are good.
Yeah.
Those were kind of pick and choose. Ours will all be good. So Netflix, if you're listening, you're not. But if you're listening, come talk to me.
I just have this mental picture of a Netflix version of a Yeet cow. It'll be black. It'll have lipstick.
We can make it work.
Oh, damn, Peter.
Well, shit. There goes another story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Remakes, race swaps, remakes with gender swaps. Yep.
Yeah. I've got some Malta story. I've got some Malta anthologies that would make great animated.
Mm-hmm. I'll just take your first five, your favorite five. We can make movies out of all.
Yeah. Well, Bill makes a good point. It would not be better because Netflix or Amazon would reimagine the stories to fit their worldview.
I don't think folks understand
Yeet
how.
cows on the way to Numenor in a sailing ship with elf crew. Yes.
Yeah.
I could write that. I could write that.
And Galadriel riding one.
Kelly Grayson just popped on. We've been pimping his Battle at Waffle House 814.
which isn't out yet, but will be soon.
Yeah, it will be soon, and y'all need to buy it because
Yeah.
that is funny as hell.
And
So-
Kelly did do the white knight trick over the weekend.
Yes, that's what I hear.
Apparently saved a couple of ladies in distress that needed to get home. And thank you for doing that, Kelly. I would have expected nothing less from you.
It's Kelly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that is a gentle reminder to folks that don't use dealerships for oil changes. You always have to make sure that the assholes doing the oil change actually put the oil pan plug back in correctly. Don't over tighten it. Don't cross thread it. And it doesn't fall out 5 miles down the road.
Cedar, you've never met Kelly before?
Got to meet Katie.
Oh, Katie.
Yeah.
Oh, Katie.
Yes, Katie is all grown up now.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, my
Katie Beth.
last time I saw Katie Beth was after my first heart attack, when Kelly brought her to the hospital to visit me, and he allowed her to shave me,
Yeah.
wielding a razor.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned razor, painfully close to my favorite upper lip. This got a little bit fraught.
Kelly, you're saying that they might have been a little chatty on the ride back. Yes,
Poor
Sir
Kelly.
Brass.
Poor Kelly. God bless
Never
her.
go to Jiffy Lube. They cost my daughter a blown engine and a car a number of years ago, and basically said, if you want to try to sue us, you can go ahead and do it. Well, I happen to have some friends that were CHP and were able to trace the line of oil back to the Jiffy Lube from the car. Didn't get a car out of it. Got some value out of it. But my kids have learned to only go to the dealer to have the oil changed.
So, like I said, if Netflix wants to talk to me about taking any anthology Racket Press published and turning it into a 10-episode animated series, I'll be happy to listen.
No. I've got it right now.
Uh-oh.
You get Sarah Hoyt and her Barbarella. Put it together with one of your anthologies. Barbarella on Yeet Cows in Space. There you are. I dare you.
She
I
put
double
Jack
dare you.
in. I bet we could get her to do it.
Well, Frank's check liver light just went on.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so. What face?
Oh, AJ, that sucks.
What face?
Your face.
Oh. We've got, let's see, Pinup Noir is next, isn't it?
Space Marines.
Space Marines.
Space Marines is this week's project.
Space Marines. Dun, dun, dun.
I'll be sending out contracts and acceptance letters and contracts this week. And if you don't get one, do not panic unless I send you something saying it's not in. You might be in the next one.
The subtitle to the Space Marines ones is From the Halls of Monty Python.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Yeah. Space Marines 1. Don't panic.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right?
no, we'll probably get sued by Douglas Adams Estate.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, speaking of things like that, Scott Adams, Dilbert.com is gone.
What do you mean gone?
It's no longer on the internet.
Yeah.
Because his distributorship got canned and everything else. So he's gone to a private label where you can subscribe to
Yeah.
Oh.
Dilbert.
And he's been pulled from most newspapers.
Yeah, well, that was going to happen.
Mm.
But he's got fuck you money, so he doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
He's got an indoor tennis court in his house, for God's sake. He's okay.
And Scott actually had problems drawing because he had some neuropathy in his hand.
Okay.
And he actually developed a piece of equipment that allows him to still draw and takes out the neuropathy.
Oh,
Man's a brilliant individual.
he's smart.
Yeah.
Ish.
Oh, he's smart.
He may not have been as people smart as he thought he was.
Well, he's, I've met him, and he truly doesn't give a shit.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
One of these days, I shall have fuck you money, and the world's gonna regret it.
What gets me is, of course, he did not say anything all that bad. I put his entire talk on my blog. I
Yeah.
put up the video, and I invited people to watch for themselves. He was not that far out. It's just that he made the unforgivable mistake, according to the SJWs, of actually stating that there was a racial component to the crime and violence we're seeing.
Yeah, which it
Which
is.
happens to be true. The FBI acknowledges it.
Yeah.
You know, the crime reports come out with actual statistics on this.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to say it publicly, and he said it.
Yeah, Dilbert Reborn. Thanks, Michael. Dilbert Reborn is where it is. So you can go on the net and search for Dilbert Reborn. Granted, it's paid only, but it is out there. And that is where he will continue to be.
Oh, Andrew Spergel. I've received several questions or inquiries as to whether Andrew Spergel, if people mind if I put him in their stories, and people saying, well, he's just cropped up in one of mine, but I don't care. As long as Andrew Spergel is completely incompetent and morally ambiguous, and preferably being the catcher in a monkey love triangle. I don't care. Please go. Andrew Spergel is free as long as he's incompetent and the catcher in a monkey love triangle.
Mona Lisa, you need to talk to Ian offline.
My lawyer tells me that Andrew Spiegel is a completely made up character.
Spurgle.
Spergel.
Spurgle.
It's completely.
That's why we have Spurgelmans.
Yeah, and we still have Spurgelmans. It's a completely made up character, not related to anybody in my life.
Yeah.
Okay. We go with that. Spurgle.
Spergel.
Sean, the last one.
Andrew Spergel. Because I did not know this at the time I was making up Andrew Spergel. Spergel is apparently found on Urban Dictionary, and I'll leave you with that middle image.
I'd rather not.
Yes, apparently it was a really good choice for last
Oh,
name.
wall banger. Spurgle mints for when the catcher needs to be dry. Oh, jeez. And there went the girls.
Spergel mints.
I've heard of
Absolutely
casting.
no danger of choking.
Yeah. I have heard of casting aspersions, but never of casting aspergles like that.
The way that Andrew Spergel is taking off, he's going to be the Joe Buckley only moisture.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
an anthology there.
Oh, yeah.
The Spurgle
I've got
Archives.
two anthologies. I've got Your Honor, I Can Explain, and You See What Had Happened Was, and both of them, every story in those two anthologies has to have Andrew Spergel. Either it has to be a walk-on character, or obliquely mentioned, or the main character. Doesn't matter. As long he's got to be in there.
The victim.
He can be the victim as long as he dies really embarrassingly.
I think that we could get Kelly to write that one. It'll involve Kielbasa. And for those of you who haven't heard the Kielbasa story,
Oh my God.
not on the air.
No, no.
That's not safe for work, not safe for children, not safe for the general public story.
But it's very funny.
Oh God, it's hilarious. But you have to be a certain twisted individual to get the humor.
Sir Brass says, wait till Chuck Tingle gets a hold of Andrew Spurgle.
The thing is, Chuck Tingle actually treats his characters with some modicum of respect, and Andrew Spergel deserves no respect whatsoever.
They want an
At all.
update on the World Universe Guide for Yeet Cows.
Still working on it. Right now, the relaunch of Law Dog Files is taking up all my time and my mental brain sweat, and it's really, really, really difficult. I'm almost done with it, but it's been a pain in my butt. After that, I'll start working on I'll go back to working on the Fuzzy Cow Bible. What? They're giggling. Why are they giggling?
Jonna says, Jesse, I'll get you a pack of Spurgle mints. Yes, we can send things to individuals.
A Spergelman gun?
It's a tic tac shooter, but
Oh my God. I want one.
We were 50 miles outside of Barstow when the Spergel mints kicked in.
We was 50 miles outside of Barstow when the Spergelmans kicked in. 51 miles later, they were done.
It was a short event. Yeah, Bill, I know we missed.
Yes.
I'm-
Yes,
I'm,
I've
too
been
old to try to shoot 400 plus rounds out of a 12.
I've been reading Larry's after action reports and just
Yeah, Bill Meade Hall hosted the Hots father and son to teach a shotgun class this past weekend.
they are. Bill Jeans used to be the shotgun virtuoso. If you wanted shotgun training, you went to Bill Jeans. Louis Airbuck if you hated your shoulder, but Bill Jeans was a shotgun guy. Well, the Hots, Matt and Rob Hott, have taken over and rather well.
Yeah.
They've got some there's some interesting ideas that work really well. Make shooting a shotgun a lot less painful.
So Larry flew out from Yard Moose Mountain and took the class this weekend. And he's been putting up reports on it. And they're stellar.
The Hots are good guys to begin with. And I think Rob's the father.
Yeah.
And he's been shooting shotguns for, I think he probably took Bill Jeans.
Well, if they're that good, obviously everyone's got the hots for them.
And he's also a 30-year cop. And I'm just going to let that one go right on by. But he also is very complimentary of Bill's setup at Meade Hall.
Yes.
And that's the important thing, folks. Bill has a class facility up there.
Yep.
It's very well done.
He's doing his best to make a South Mid-America world-class training center, which we don't have one of quite yet. And so Bill's filling in. And I'm hoping it takes off.
Yeah.
I try to pimp it as often as I can. I need to get up there. I need to get up there and take class.
Yeah, it's actually a learning and training facility. Yes. Kermit finally caught up with your joke.
I'm pretty sure that Clint Smith is currently regretting moving Thunder Ranch to Oregon.
Yeah.
He should never have left Texas. Never should have left Texas. Washington's gone full nutsoid.
Yeah.
We need to get Jay the hell out of there.
Oh, Michael. Another guy, and I put 1,200 12 gauge 1/8 ounce rounds through my Orion in a weekend.
No.
Oh, God.
The hot. Yeah.
Oh, that hurts just thinking about it.
I've got it. My left eye is my dominant, well, it used to be my dominant eye. Still tries to be, even though with all the retinal damage, it still tries to be my dominant eye. So I shoot rifles and shotguns off my left shoulder because I'm left-eyed. Used to be. And my left shoulder happens to be one I've broken in 4 places over 3 different events.
Ben,
Yeah.
as much as I'd like to, no, we're not going to have a range day for Fool's Con.
Fool's Con is a relaxicon.
Yeah.
Everybody's supposed to show up and have a good time.
No panels, no vendors.
No events. Just show up, eat, and have a good time.
You've got the huge problem though if you try and have a range day of insurance, because
Yeah.
the premiums on that are going to be hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah.
And secondly, if anything does go wrong, you've lost the whole of Fool's Con from then on.
Yeah.
Because the damage shoots and everything else would just be ferocious.
Yeah.
Just not going to happen.
Eat, drink, plot anthologies. Yes, no. Why not have a host of Fool's Con at Meade Hall's range? We are actually currently on hold. We're talking to Bill about doing a
Author shoot.
author shoot. If you are if you're an author, and especially if you happen to be somewhat iffy on the finer points of firearms, we're going to offer an author shoot at FoolsCon so that we can have what?
Tom,
Which
if
author?
you
we're
want
gonna
to
shoot?
if you want to volunteer,
No comment. No publisher. I want it. Never mind. So we're going to have take a weekend, and we'll have some folks come in and explain the differences. Yeah, explain the differences in firearms and why, unless you have a very limited run of 125 Glock 17s, you don't have a goddamn safety on your Glock to take off.
Yeah.
Or on your revolver.
Well, yes. We're going to have little panels on what guns are, what they aren't, what you should stop doing, and then here's you get to shoot them.
Why the 5.56 will not blow you in half.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then you don't fly back 10 feet when you get hit with one.
right.
Now, that takes a shotgun.
It still didn't fly back 10 feet. God.
Yeah.
So
Although
that is in the works. However, on our side, Bill is ready to do it, eager to do it. Bill is more than happy to do it. Our side keeps getting bigger. We started out as a morning shoot for authors, and it's turning into a weekend thing.
Yeah, and that now involves scheduling. And George R. R. Martin, no. 10 feet Desert Eagle or a Barrett. Revolver safeties. Yeah, Nancy, that's another good one.
There are safeties with revolvers.
Yeah.
Kelly tells a hell of a story about the time he handed me his Heritage Firearms revolver, and I found out it had a
I
fucking
thought
safety.
it was a Chiappa.
Or maybe a chop. I don't remember. It had a fucking safety on it.
You know what? I read about one recently. I really want to see and shoot. Some genius in Ukraine put 4 M1917 Maxims, the water cooled
Yeah,
right.
on a quad mount to take down UAVs, little drones. And it's on the front line. There is a silence suppressor on every one
That's
and a red dot sight in the middle. And you literally point and sort of maneuver this mount, put the dot on it, and it lets fly with 4 of them simultaneously.
There was an E4 involved. 'Cause that is
Yeah.
straight E4.
But the thing is, it would probably work.
yeah.
It worked
things are
really
so
well.
unreliable.
It would work really well, and that's an E4. Somewhere an E4 went, hey, I got 4 of these.
Yeah.
But no, I keep getting authors contact me saying, hey, when are you gonna? I'm working on it.
Yeah.
We're getting
We'll,
there.
we'll get there.
We're
It's
getting
going to be a separate event from Fool's Con.
Yeah, will not be a Fool's Con event,
There will be an anthology afterwards.
probably.
And on that note, folks, we've wasted another hour of your time.
We have
Show
Space
them
Marines.
Show them the mascot again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, when you send,
If you get that in your email,
yes. See these guys? They forgot to put their name on their story submission.
Leota,
Nom 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 nom. And it won't be the fun nom nom either. Gotcha.
and
Well done.
Courtney is melting down over here.
I could light a cigarette off your cheeks.
Space
Damn, she
Marines.
turned red.
Yes, you did. I've been waiting for that one.
Well played.
I've had that one in the chamber for a minute. Space Marines is coming out in next week, next Friday. Yeah, next Friday.
No
No.
Something's coming out next Friday.
contracts this Friday.
Law Dog is coming out on Friday.
No, I'm not. I'm talking next Friday. I'm talking Fantasy Friday.
Oh no. Falcons of Malta closes on the 31st.
That's right. Okay.
Right. We have an anthology closing this month. I'm doing contracts this week. We have Law Dog Files coming out, and if I make it to Fantasy, we'll be doing it. We'll be opening another challenge.
Okay. If you've got a Malta story, send it. It's still open. You've got the rest of the month
Yep.
to send it. If you have a Malta
Nancy.
story, send it.
Send it. If you don't send it, I'll just hand them the one you sent me.
Just go ahead and send it to him.
All right.
All right. Just go ahead and send it to him.
All right, folks. Y'all have a good one. Remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Be safe, guys.
We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Let's go get some food.
Yes.